Counterpunch Boxing News, and we are in this late night talks review. So we got two on the chat. Hit that like button. It will notify YouTube to remember that they have a job to do notifying the rest of the subscribers. Now, the reason why I put new beginnings because I have a strong intuition that this may be a change for Joshua. Okay, it hasn't been confirmed, not yet. Okay, so I don't want people to jump to conclusions, but the way from the last video that I posted about this issue, you know, based on what he was doing, based on where he was at versus where he was. Okay, he's been in the States. We know he's in the States, but if you notice, Joshua just kind of snuck in and then he just started posting pictures. Hey, Kurt, looks like AJ is going to make a change. Lakin, Counterpunch, or is it Lakan? Let's hit that like button. Let's hit that like button. And he's going to need it. If his thing is to make a change, I'm proud of him, because I think this is an audition process, and I think it's more for both people. If you're a trainer, it ain't like, please give me this opportunity. Please, please, please. You're Anthony Joshua. You're the cash cow. No, it has to be a camaraderie between the two. It has to be some type of connection. That shit that Wilder always talks about, Malik Scott, they have to have that type of relationship, where this has to be done a certain way. Okay. Andy C77, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Let's hit that like button. We got 16 people in here. Let's get all 16 likes. Let's get the likes up. Hit that like button. Have you watched the interview with Ronnie Shields? He's done like 3 quiet for 24 hours. Everything they talked about, couldn't even keep quiet for 24 hours. AJ needs a new coach. You show UTD. It's kind of hard to keep that under wraps, though. You know what I mean? Because, it was going to get out one way or the other. Because, you have leaks, moles, people that supply intel to other people that are in the media stream, and then they're going to know it. So when someone finds out, it's not a reporter or journalist job to keep things quiet. You know what I mean? You want to keep something quiet, tell a friend or tell somebody you can trust, not someone that, oh, well, I won't do that unless it's something personal. That's different. You know what I mean? Because that's something that you don't want to get out, because that's a situation. It's like things that people say to me, I would never discuss, to my audience, because it's personal. That's not cool, and vice versa. But back to coaches and, and fighters, that has to be reciprocated on both ends the right way, because the coach's name is on the line. The fighter's career is at stake. I have been watching Lennox Lewis fights. He knew when to change trainers and it worked out for him. Good to see where AJ goes from here. Yeah, a lot of them. And if you look at you look at Vladimir Klitschko and you look at Lennox Lewis, they both trained in Kronk's gym. You know what I mean? So yeah, trainers are in high demand, especially when they know how to train. AJ may have 0 losses had he been proactive with the coach change. Could have, but then I don't blame McCracken for the Andy Ruiz loss. He got caught, and see, here's the thing. Well, nothing was going to stop what his choices were in the ring. He got careless. He knocked down Andy Ruiz, the first person to ever do that. So at the time, you know what I mean? He's still the first. He's just not the only to knock down Andy Ruiz. And he thought Andy Ruiz was ready to go. He just thought, he made a bad decision. He made a bad decision. not Rob McCracken. Bob McCracken told him, keep him long, keep him back with the jab. You know what I mean? Follow with the 1-2, and that's something he should have done. Now, he was following that in the rounds 1 and 2, if you notice. That's why Andy couldn't capitalize on those combinations, which you seen Andy throw combinations, but when Joshua, bam, you know how he goes, bam, bam, and then but by the time Andy, you know, he was already out of position because he was fighting tall, fighting behind his jab, you know, and then he was out of position. So Andy couldn't capitalize on that until Joshua opened up. But he only opened up because he thought he was going to get Andy out of there. So, I mean, you can't blame McCracken with that. Now, was it always a good idea to leave him? Eventually, yeah. But people wait till the worst things to happen before casting judgment. You know what I'm saying? Jay Roos, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Merle Dixon, yo, what up, big Cortola? And he was probably trying to make AJ agree to a third fight at the gym. Andre Smith, if he was there, I wouldn't doubt it. You imagine Andy Ruiz? Please, Anthony, let's get this fight. I've had a hard one. You've had a hard one. Please. We're 1-1. But I mean, it's just, I think Andy Ruiz, man, he got the Gennady Golovkin syndrome. You know what I mean? It's like Andy Ruiz was a guy, well, he was a fill-in though. Golovkin was no fill-in. Golovkin was damn near the undisputed champion. He just lacked one belt, but he had every belt at middleweight. So, I don't want to just shit on Triple G. He was on a path of undisputed and also was on the path for breaking Bernard Hopkins' title defense record, okay? Because Bernard broke Hagler's record, and Golovkin was in midst of beating Bernard's record. So what is the new coach like? What style does he teach? Well, Ronnie Shields is a proactive coach. He's been around for a while, if that's who he decides to go with. Because remember, just yesterday, his ass was in Cali. So he was in California in Canelo's gym and in Hunter's gym, so you're like, okay. And we heard he was doing the same thing, but then a lot of stuff yesterday was not leaked out. Kurt, I want to thank you. Kurt, I want to thank you for everything you do. I watch your channel every day. It's a big stress reliever for me when I'm not studying, and I love the live sessions. Jordan Benson, man, thank you. That means a lot to me. People like watching it and appreciate watching it. You know what I mean? Just don't let it be a distraction from your from your studying. Just let it be a reliever, not a distraction. AJ needs to jet back to the Klitschko days. He also needs to train at altitude like Fury does. That's why Fury Tank is so good, because he trains at Big Bear around 7,000 feet. That could be that. I think at the end of the day, I think whatever he does, he's doing it to benefit his career. So regardless of what the rumors are or what your feelings are about Anthony Joshua not being, turned on or not being motivated because he has too much money, well, someone with too much money, if they really didn't give a shit, they wouldn't be over here. I mean, Joshua was from the UK. He's adored in the UK. Now he's in the USA. He is shopping around. Yeah, Andy C77, he's definitely shopping around. Capital two times. What up, Kurt? Counter punch. Late night vibes. Let's go. Let's get it. I'm just 10 minutes in, man. Appreciate and look forward to every video as well. Counterpunch gang. That's it. CPB. Dr. Noor Nilmal. Raj. Hi, Kurt from India here. Do you think 6 to 8 months is enough for AJ to learn a new style and that too to beat an elite boxer like Usyk? No, I don't. And Ronnie Shields, if he goes with Ronnie Shields, it's already been documented on Lady Shan's interview, and I advise everyone to watch that interview because if he ends up going with Ronnie Shields, that's the interview you want to watch because it's something that's already predated that talked about Ronnie Shields saying that he would like to train AJ. If you guys seen that video, because I counterpunched it myself, but okay. But at the end of the day, he already said in that interview that, hey, it's not enough time. I wouldn't recommend Usyk right away. I would fight someone else first just to get a feel of Joshua, which is always good. That's why Golovkin got a pass with Steve Rolls when he went to Jonathan Banks because, why would you go in there with Canelo and then this is your first time? Deontay Wilder and Malik Scott, they were rushed into a situation bound by court matters. So they had to take the chance that they had because they didn't have another chance. So if they decided to miss their own opportunity that they fought for, they would never actually get it. You know what I mean? So that's what you're looking at in that situation. But I don't, hopefully what he teaches him, I think trainers are good for confidence. You know what I mean? I think the confidence level should be good with a trainer because you got a fresh start. You're learning new things. You're just rejuvenated. You know what I mean? You're getting that rejuvenation from a different atmosphere. You know what I mean? You're in a different gym. It might have a musty smell that you're not familiar with that he might like. He calls himself the throwback fighter. So, hell, Anthony Joshua might get turned on from a little sweat. You know what I'm saying? Because he's just like, you can tell he's definitely a historian and a respecter of the sport. So this is all a learning process. And if you keep, someone, it would be unfair for Joshua not to learn because of his potential to want to learn, if that makes sense. Okay, because if you've been with the same guy forever, right, since the amateurs, it's time for you to move on if you want to experience other challenges and other type styles, and you want to view into and venture off into something that you definitely need to learn. If it's learning you need to advance your learning. That's just like going to one school. You're not going to get the same thing with the same professor the whole time. You got to go to different professors in different areas, right? AJ should steal Sugar Hill. Nah, that would suck. But you know what, Quan Big Guns, he would never do that. That would like really be advantage Fury, because Fury already put it out there. We'll train AJ for free. For free. Yeah, always good boxing chatting here, Kurt. Always a good thumbs up for me. Let's hit that like button. We almost got 100 people in here. Our small crowd. I like late nights because it's not as big. You know what I mean? It's a nice small, sector, of people. But of course it will grow. But I like to take each and every comment, like it was the only one. It's hard to do that when it's 1,000 of them. That's the only problem. Fury was tired too. People acting like he was the best. No, look, his ass is he was tired too, but you can tell it just shows you the difference between a fighter and the difference between someone that muscle memory and reflex. Like, let's look at Dillian White when he fought Marius Walk. You guys remember that fight? When he fought him, yeah, he was fat. He was out of shape. He looked like the black Michelin man. Yes, he did. If you don't know who Michelin Man is, Google him. You'll see a white Michelin Stay Puffed marshmallow like figure. He looked like that. He looked like shit, but he got the job done. He was tired. You could tell he was tired, but you can tell through muscle memory he pushed through that. Tyson Fury did the same thing. Even with this change, beating Usyk is still an uphill battle, especially an Usyk that's more comfortable in the heavyweight division. Joshua can do it though. Lacan, I think this will be, and this is what I feel. I'm looking at it now. I think for Anthony Joshua, win or lose, Joshua will get his bearings and his stripes back. Notice I said win or lose because I think this fight will be equivalent of the Fury Wilder 3 fight. Why? Because these guys ain't got to fight 3 times. It's going to be 2 times. Joshua's going to come in there. He may get a knockdown or so. I'm getting ahead of myself, but hungry as I think he will be, that will show us where Joshua is in his career. If he don't come out throwing punches, being more aggressive, taking the initiative, he's going to lose again. But if he comes out there throwing punches to the body, taking air out of that tire, okay, investing, okay, putting interest in the bank, I think then you'll see someone different and you'll see a bit different fight. But understand, someone like Usyk, though, they practice so and train so much, it's kind of hard to beat them mentally because everything is connected. Okay, let me just break it down to you. You might say, well, not everything's connected. It is. It's connected. Mind, body, spirit. Think about it. You may want to run, but if you're not in shape, mentally you're going to think, well, I can't do that because I'll be what? I'll be sore in the morning, or I'll be out of breath, or I'll be wore out, But the more you train, the more your mind is working, then you feel better. So that's the spirit realm. So you get up, okay, I've done, 5 miles yesterday, worked on cardio, abs. Today I'm going to work on chest, and you repeat the process mentally and spiritually. Spiritually, you feel better because of what you've accomplished. Physically, you're able to do more because you've been training to do more day after day, right? Consistency. So it's all together. It all lines in together. And Joshua, if he gives it his all and has one hell of a fight, people shouldn't say shit. You know what I mean? Because we have a lot of people that jump, oh man, he ain't this no more. He ain't that no more. And the thing is, none of those fights with Tyson Fury and Wilder, and this is the sad problem. The sad part about it is Tyson Fury now is looked at being like the best heavyweight, and he's done the same shit he's done last year. See, people totally forgot about that bullshit smokescreen Joshua fight that was supposed to happen, that in fact could and should have happened because the date was set, the venue was set, the money was there, and then Bob says, well, you know what? We didn't have the fight ready. If he would have had the fight all together, then maybe the arbitrator would have, all that. I'm like, dude, maybe my ass. How about that? Maybe you knew that you guys were going to lose it, and maybe you knew you didn't want a Joshua fight. That's it. But what's unfair to Joshua is, why would you say that Tyson Fury would do the same thing to Joshua as he did to Deontay Wilder? See, Deontay Wilder was tired since the 3rd or 4th round. He was not the same dude. He was not. And Anthony Joshua was not tired in 3 or 4 rounds of fighting herky jerky Matrix Jr. or Matrix Part 2 ass Alexander Usyk. He was not that dude. Let's get those likes up. Jordan, yes, a reliever, not a distraction. Absolutely. It's good for AJ to move to America. It's the heavyweight mecca. Well, you understand it comes with a lot of shit too, especially if he's victorious. See, if Joshua wins, Joshua will be a 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. Tyson Fury will all of a sudden get interest back into his career. Because I think what bothered Tyson is Tyson was waiting to fight Anthony Joshua if Anthony Joshua won. So he was waiting back. He knows that date has already been set. Eddie Hearn has already put in the work, and that deal was already done. It will already be done. They will split the money and they will have a huge fight in Saudi Arabia. But since he didn't win, he's all of a sudden crumbled. And that tells me another thing. Tyson Fury didn't plan on defending shit. He wasn't planning on doing his obligation or his making his obligation as a champion. He wasn't. So that shit about Dillian White, yeah, he might have thought that at some point, but now he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care about fighting Dillian White. Neither does his dad. Neither does Frank Warner. Any of those guys. And when it comes to Frank and Bob, they're looking at that and they're hoping the same thing happened to Dillian White. Last year will happen this year with Otto Vailene. Povetkin knocked out Dillian White. That's what saved them. Because Dillian White was going to be a problem. Dillian White was not going to allow those two bozos to fight. And I said bozos because they might as well be, because at the end of the day, they needed that to sell their fight. They needed Joshua to sell their fight against Wilder. See, they knew, but then White would have been a problem because then the arbitrator couldn't say, okay. See, when White got beat, a lot of things happened. White got beat, then Mauricio, okay, the foot was off his neck. So he could say, well, you have the arbitration there, and we need to see what they decide to do. Dillian White, he has to fight Povetkin again. And see, so it took him and put him back. Whereas the arbitrator would have a problem because it's like, okay, well, you have to fight this man or whatever. But then Dillian White could say, well, no. He has to fight me because I'm the mandatory. You can't rule him to fight you next. So either the winner has to fight me or something, which ultimately that happened. But he wasn't the problem at that time until he beat Povetkin. So since he beat Povetkin, now he's back. But now we have Tyson winning and Joshua losing. So you're like, well, damn, Tyson Fury doesn't really want to do anything. And I know he doesn't, based on what's happening. Kurt, almost everyone has a different opinion on what AJ should do. AJ will do what's best for AJ. I hope he does. Do you see Bob Arum apologize to Kate Abdu? I didn't see that, Andrew. Send me a link. Usyk's movement and pace will always give AJ problems. Let's be real. It's a bad stylistic matchup, but with that said, AJ does have the power and the eraser, which makes it fun to fight. Can't wait for the two. Well, I mean, it's sink or swim. Sink, swim, or float for Joshua. Because see, if Joshua has, a knockdown or something like that and he hurts Usyk, then Usyk will appear vulnerable to a certain degree, even if he won or not. Then Anthony Joshua knows he'll be respected for having power and what his capabilities are. Then, you know what I mean? Then we will see someone looking at Usyk, and someone would actually be willing to fight Usyk based on that fight. But then Joshua will be, okay, he's not a champion, but he can go on and fight someone like Deontay Wilder. Then I think Shelly Finkel will be real cooperative with Eddie Hearn at that time. And I think Eddie Hearn vice versa, because then Eddie Hearn was like, okay, well, we just had Wilder come off one of the fights of 2021. Now it's 2022. This is the late summer or whatnot. Let's set up a fight in Nigeria between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. Efe Ajagba's out. He got beat by Frank Sanchez, so he can't be the face of Nigeria until he gets his respect back from beating Frank. That's if he can beat Frank, which I don't think he can. He's too slow. But he has a puncher's chance, if anything. But as far as Anthony Joshua, he had his fight of the year or fight or one of the candidates for fight of the year of 2022. And Deontay Wilder had his fight of the year in 2021 against Tyson Fury. Then, yeah, they'll get together and do something spectacular because it would be like something like the Battle of Nigeria. You know what I mean? The Battle of the Nigerian Kings, Nigerian roots. It would be so much, and Nigeria would pay for it. And then, shouts out to Spencer Farron because he said that yesterday. He was like, listen, that fight could happen and that would be like bombs over Baghdad. Okay. That would be a good fight. That'd be like Ken Norton fighting George Foreman. You know what I mean? Does any style help AJ's punch resistance? I don't know. I wouldn't think so. Shit, having good defense. Whatever style has better defense, I would say so. Fury is nearly 300 pounds and his stamina made Wilder's look non-existent. AJ still walks through Wilder, but it won't take him 11 rounds. Well, see the thing about Joshua though, the old Joshua, if he would have hurt Deontay Wilder, he would have probably beat him until someone stopped it. Because Wilder, if we know anything about him, they would have to. Because if Joshua hurts you, he's coming in for the kill. He's throwing nasty hooks. And I don't think Wilder would want to get hit with those hooks being parallel like he does when he gets hurt. You know what I mean? He's just there to get hit at that point. He might grab you like he did Ortiz, but someone like Joshua catching him with that right uppercut, left hook combination, then come back outside, straight right, then a left hook. You know what I mean? Right uppercut, left uppercut. No, bro. No. But see, Wilder can catch him too. And I think Wilder's faster than Joshua. But he's not as fast as he used to be due to this weight gain. He needs to get that weight off. I'll tell anybody anytime. O'Warts, hello, man. Hello to you, O'Warts. Sean McQueen, greetings from Canada. Sentence home, appreciated the channel support. From Cambodia, counterpunch to you. Nicholas, Kurt, do you think a fourth fight between Wilder and Fury has a decent change of happening sometime in the future? It depends on Deontay Wilder. See, here's the reality, people. Anthony Joshua may never fight Tyson Fury. It may not be a situation where the fight actually ever happens. So Wilder has to make sure that doesn't happen. Wilder now has to start thinking about his career and how his career went and the decisions that he decided to make fighting Fury instead of Joshua. Okay? He wanted Fury so bad because he didn't believe in Fury. He thought Fury was the easier fight. You were going to get less money for fighting Fury, but he thought Fury was less likely to be the guy that did what Fury did. That's why a lot of people look at Fury like they look at him, because people are still, surprised that, hey, this here is what happened to Wilder due to Fury, because nobody thought Fury could do it. That's why. That's exactly why. So at the end of the day now, you got somebody like Anthony Joshua. People knew Anthony can punch. You think they wanted to get their undefeated champions knocked out by Joshua? See, when that happened, people, it was over. It's almost like a damn soap opera. You can't have the end. Stuff like that has to happen later on, if it ever happens. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, if Joshua would have fought Deontay Wilder in 2019 in Wembley and lost. That's what it would have been. Let me prove it to you. Why do you think Shelly Finkel and Team Wilder decided to a agree to a fight, then turn around and say no because there's no rematch clause? Is because anybody that's worried about a rematch clause is worried about losing. Think about it. AJ don't care if he wins or loses. He needs 35 million to get 200. Joey Chaz, I don't think that's it. I think it's more than money because he has enough of it. But if that's the case, he would have quit a long time ago. He would have quit after he got the belts back from Andy Ruiz and just retired. You have them late night vibes. Does any style help? He's getting rocked by the likes of White, Usyk, and Ruiz Jr. by a variety of punches. But it jab, left hook, straight. I mean, it depends on, I think if I go based off of what he's already went through, left hooks to the temple. Hook him. Hell, it worked for Ruiz. Del Boy, it's 4:55 a.m. in the UK. Early bird snatches the worm or catches the worm. Absolutely. I was looking, old fight of AJ from before Ruiz, and it's sad he left the monster behind him after that fight. It's not because he didn't work with Ruiz that won't work any longer. Well, not with Usyk. You can't box Usyk on the way he boxed Ruiz. To beat Ruiz was simple. That puzzle was easy. Usyk doesn't have an easy puzzle. It takes a lot of hard determination. It like the things that Derek Chisora did, he just couldn't keep doing. Ripping to the body upstairs. You don't box him at all. It's organized confusion. You just keep fighting him. It's chaos. You got to come with aggression. You got to keep him guessing. But most importantly, you have to stay busy and consistent to beat Usyk. If you're not, he's just going to move, lean, duck, dodge, pivot, right? Parry, counter, 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 and repeat the process. That's all Usyk. Usyk is going to do that, and he's conditioned to do that. Anybody with great condition like Usyk, he can do that. That's why he trains like hell. He trains and you don't see him. He's over there in the Ukraine. He's away from everything, but he's also away from his family too. So, he ain't at home, getting it on, wasting his energy. No, he's training. He's trained. Look, man, Alexander Usyk is training mentally and physically and spiritually preparing on top of praying. So you got a dude that trains, prepares by mental and spiritual conditioning. He's gonna be hard to beat. And I've been telling people ever since Usyk came to heavyweight, people bought into the size. Dude, stop. I hope people now get the point. Don't shit on AJ. Congratulate Usyk. Congratulate UK. There will be no fourth fight with Wilder nor Fury. Well, it won't. Okay, it won't hurt my feelings. It's a mistake taking a rematch. He's still only 31 and can afford to spend a couple years working with a new trainer before challenging the title. Chris, yeah, but see how they're thinking. They're thinking in that end game. They're thinking of that Fury fight because the problem is they were so close in their mind to a Tyson Fury Joshua fight, a UK showdown with all the belts. That was a rare point in time, and they were almost there. And I think since they were almost there, they won't give up on that particular possibility. I think that's the problem. That's the problem with that. So, but you're right. I think he shouldn't fight Usyk right now. I think Usyk should fight. But it's bad though. I mean, because he even if Usyk, they like if Joshua decides, you know what, I don't want to take the fight, kind of like how Vlad did with Joshua, because Vlad had a rematch clause with Joshua. He was going to fight Joshua later in 17 for part two, which would have been a good fight though. Vlad was like, you know what, fuck it. I tried. I'm not going to do this to myself again. He probably had a promise to his wife or something like that he wouldn't. Therefore, for whatever reason, he decided not to take that fight, that rematch with Anthony Joshua. So he didn't. So he didn't at all. So that didn't happen. So if Joshua decides to pull a Vladimir Klitschko, right? You know, Usyk would still have to wait to fight somebody. Why? Because he just fought last month, but then who else is he going to fight? Fury just fought, so they'd still have to wait a certain amount of time to fight. And then Tyson's caught up with, hey, you have 30 days to negotiate, which they could negotiate a deal, between him and Usyk. I would love to see that fight. You know what I mean? Then we could stop the myth from the reality because we'll actually see the fight and we'll know what it produces between Usyk and Tyson Fury. But I tell you right now, I think Usyk beats Fury. And a lot of people are like, dude, you're crazy, you're crazy. No, well, they thought I was crazy that he would beat Joshua. Okay. Can you break it down? These trainers can do for him. Eddie Reynoso, Ronnie Shields, Virgil Hunter. Virgil Hunter, I think he's more of the defensive guy. He's more hands-on. Whereas Eddie Reynoso, he's good at counterpunching, you know what I mean, and body punching. He would be a good asset, but I don't think that would be a good one for him. Ronnie Shields is more of taking what you already know and helping you strengthen those, like he did, like people like Lada. AJ can never catch up to Usyk in terms of boxing. He needs to use the thing that's over Usyk's power. Hopefully that's good enough, but he needs more than that because he showed Usyk his power and that wasn't enough. Yeah, he busted Usyk up, but Usyk was still there. Usyk's a rock, man. Shit, he ain't just because he's small don't mean just because you're a smaller rock don't mean you're not as tough or as durable. And he showed people that. So he's going to need more than that. AJ should hire Ben Davison. Yeah, keep him long. Yeah, keep him long. Yeah, he'll definitely get his ass sparked out. I want AJ to be with Ronnie. Okay. Darren, what up, Kurt? I appreciate your commentaries a lot. It helps with my depression, and you always shed some light on the day. Keep up the good work, bro, and see when I hit Austin from San Antonio. Darren, you got it, bro. Just let me know. Sean McQuinn, Fury change trainer and get better. Wilder change his trainer and get better. Dillian change his trainer and get better. Chisora did the same too, and he got better. AJ should do the same to improve. Maybe, you know. But I mean, all that feigning, that Usyk is, and you don't know when the hell he's gonna come in. Fucking snake charmer. They're all bozos. Kurt, you think AJ is going to keep looking or just work with Ronnie? Not sure. It depends on what happens. So we just have to wait and see. But I can guarantee you something. Something's happening real damn soon. Real soon. Kurt, please do an FA impression. I think Joshua's finished. I think Joshua finished. I think he finished. I don't think he fight again. He's not Nigerian. I am Nigerian. He is not Nigerian. I am from Nigeria. His parents from Nigeria. He's not from Nigeria. People got to respect that Fury is two-time undefeated. Nicholas, that's true. Counterpunch to you. Bars. Too bad Sugar Hill taken. Morning Kurt CPU from the UK out for the count. Counterpunch to you. Usyk moves like a martial artist fighter, not a boxer. Well, he does have that Lyoto Machida shit going, don't he? So Kurt Fury wants the money fight. I thought he was a Spartan who don't care. That's a lie. He wants that money. He wants to fight the guy that made more money than him in the UK, that the Brits backed over him. See, he had to go somewhere else to do his shit. So he didn't have the easy route. Good morning, Kurt. Or good job, Kurt. AJ needs to charm Usyk into some heavy punches. He needs to believe in himself more. Also, he needs to get his head sorted. Too worried of getting hit. Well, I mean, shit. It's crazy because John Cusack, dude, I ain't seen him in a long time. Damn. Usyk is the closest thing to Roy Jones. No, it's not like Roy Jones. Usyk is like Usyk. You know what I mean? Usyk is like Usyk. Kurt AJ needs to learn the floating rib shot. Triple X, triple X. You're damn right. He needs to learn that Lennox Lewis special ability. You know, Lennox Lewis' special ability is a floating rib shot. Yeah, that's what you call a floating rib shot, man. Fucking floating rib shot. Why they keep saying these fighters are finished. These legends had a few losses on their record. Dragon leg, because everybody thinks they're fucking Mayweather. That's why. Mayweather ruined the sport with the perception of his pitch. See, his whole pitch, his selling pitch was undisputed, or sorry, not even undisputed, because he's never been undisputed, but undefeated. Okay. Floyd just wanted to sell that because people hated him. People hated him. People did not like the idea of, him winning. So he kept winning. And then when he left, he left all these fighters like this. He left them with this. He left them with the image of not trying to fight the best and making more money than you can ever imagine. So you have a lot of guys just sitting around not trying to fight tough fights because Floyd stopped doing it. But Floyd been doing that shit for years. He fought everyone because he's been around 20 years before these candy asses came around. They're just trying to be like Floyd. And you can't do that. You have to put in work. You got to fight the De La Hoyas and the Gottis and, you know what I mean, those guys, the Sean Bay Mitchells, the Zab Judas. You have to fight these guys, the Juan Manuel Marquezes. You have to fight these guys. You can't just sit around and try to act like someone else that already did it. You know what I mean? No, Usyk is not the white Roy Jones. Usyk is Alexander Usyk. Never seen an exciting Floyd fight. Watch him fight Gotti. That probably won't be exciting either because you'll just watch him destroy Gotti, which is something I don't like to watch every day. Kurt, can we hear Lennox Lewis' opinion on this? Well, I think Anthony Joshua needs to get out of the third grade class. Yeah. He needs to get rid of the third grade coach. He needs a university. I'm a professor, but I think he needs to get out of the third grade. I don't even think he can say his ABCs. It's time to write essays. It's time to write essays about the floating rib shot. Usyk, his John Wick of boxing. Lennox Lewis, greatest heavyweight of all time. Mike Technician. Yeah. If first he has to deal with my jab. And then if he gets past that, there's the right hand. If Mike Tyson wants to test, I'll put him to rest. I'm like, oh my God, so corny. How do you think Fury beats Usyk and vice versa? First of all, being Fury though, really, working on his feints, working the jab, being tall, but that's not going to all do it. Combinations and aggressiveness. Because, see, I think at some point Tyson Fury will figure out, like, okay, I see what this guy has. I'm impressed. But now I'm going to start really unloading on him because I have to show him that you're not just going to do this shit and beat me round after round. No, no, no. He's going to give Usyk something to really think about. Bless you, Kurt. You need rest soon. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I'm starting back on Fear, so I have to tomorrow night definitely. I have to go in early, so I won't have a late night vibe, but maybe an early morning one though. So stay tuned for that, so we can talk more about the early morning rib shot, the counter punch. Yeah, Fury knows the frustrating tactics. He leans and plies on weight on his opponent's shoulders, must drain them so much. Andy C77. But what if he can't do that with a guy that's constantly moving? You guys ever know? You have noticed he does that with. He's doing that with Wilder, but Wilder is not mobile. Do you think when Wilder was coming in with the jab and stepping out, coming in with the jab and stepping out, do you think he could then, weigh his body on him? No, he's not going to be able to do that with Usyk. You look at Usyk back and forth, in and out, side to side, head movement, feints, jab. You know what I mean? Look, that he's not going to be able to do all that shit. You have to be still to grab someone, right? I would hate for him to try to grab Usyk and Usyk's moving, and he's on his back foot ready to counter in, looking like a big ass Billy Joe Saunders or something. That won't work for him. Wilder doesn't have lateral movement. That's what I'm talking about. He doesn't really use that. And of course, we haven't seen that at all. Kurt, what's the deal with Malik and Wilder's training clips? Deontay didn't slip throw any combos. Was it purely mental intimidation like the bench press? It was something that I guess they were trying to show, but they should have done exactly what they showed, and it's sad. I'm sorry, it's sad. Will be an interesting fight for sure, and one that is decided on points, I think. Well, yeah, I mean, it will be one of those fights, and I don't buy into the Roy Jones Jr. thing. Roy, I don't think it'd be a good fight. Everybody like that fight, but hardcore, but casual think it sucks because you have a technical match between both fighters. And it'd be bored. A lot of people be bored and yawning. Usyk avoids the clinch. Wait a minute. Will Stokes. Kurt, here's a question. If AJ pulls it off and beats Usyk, would he be an all-time great heavyweight in your opinion? Well, see, he's fought basically not everyone, but he's fought enough guys that are either ex-champions, you know, um, and his resume will speak. You got a guy, Andy Ruiz twice, Usyk twice, Pulev, which only got beat by Vlad, Povetkin, that only got beat by Vad, then Dillian White. Who else? Undefeated Joseph Parker, then champion or former champion Charles Martin, former champion, undefeated also because he took his O. Um, Vladimir Klitschko. You know, I mean, you understand. People always say 2 years. That Tyson fought him 2 years later. No, it was only a year and a half. Here for the impressions. I don't know what you're talking about, Tyler Anderson. There's no impressions. I'm just here. I'm just talking about the floating rip shot. AJ can't afford to look at Usyk constantly. He will exhaust nervous energy. However, he cannot run after Usyk like Chisora did. He will run out of physical energy. AJ needs to find a proper medium. He needs to find something, whatever's going to help him. Can AJ switch southpaw and give Usyk new look? No, that would be stupid. No. The last thing you want to do to a southpaw is to become a southpaw and try to fight him and beat him at southpaw. You would be destroyed. He would be absolutely destroyed. You're just giving him an angle that he's now more comfortable with. It's like taking a puzzle piece and then switching it. Okay? No, absolutely not. Kurt, can you do a Wilder with a busted eardrum impression? Usyk level changes are incredibly fast, and when mixed with his feints, it's devastating. Yeah, he does all that, and he blends it together. And then since he blends it together, that's what you're looking at. You're looking at a guy that you don't know. See, Usyk, I can understand. I can imagine. I'm watching Usyk in Witherspoon right now. And Witherspoon, every time he tried to even close the distance by trying to be quicker, he's already off because Usyk's already out of position. So Usyk is a guy. He either has you thinking he's going to punch you, or feigning like he's going to punch you. Either one's bad because you don't know which one he's going to do until he does it. That's the problem. You know, he might feint and feint and feint and feint and bap bap, then feint, then feint, then bap bap, then feint, bap bap, bap bap. You don't know when he's coming. And that's that's tiresome. He's like, when is this? You know, then you get frustrated and you throw something wild, then you leave yourself wide open, like Tony Bellew did. Floyd versus Diego Corrales was a master class, Mayweather. It was. And that was early in his career. He was 24-0 with 17 KOs at that time. January 20th, 2001. I remember that day very well. And you know, the strange thing about that day, I had just quit Walmart, or Walmart fired me. It was the same day. Yeah. Seems Usyk takes away the initiatives from his opponent, who would have given him a taste of his own medicine. I don't know. I don't know, honestly. Probably I would like to see him fight Hopkins like at 170, but Hopkins was a little smaller. Mr. DeVille, Joshua's head is fine. His character's off. He needs to hire Robert De Niro to teach him some method acting and get back into a character who has entered the ring as a total destroyer. Okay, hire the Raging Bull. That's Tony said, will fight again. Usyk drains you mentally. Yeah, he does. Because you'll be tired of that shit. You'll be huffing and puffing. The best way to beat a boxer is bringing the fight to them. Cut the ring and don't let them think. Hit him in the body, finish in the head. Well, hit him in the head and then go back to the body. That's a good right by Witherspoon. At least he got one in. You know, that's what Joshua should have done. You know. What is Usyk's weakness? I don't know what the fuck his weakness is. I don't know. He ain't chinny. He don't get tired. You know, calling him, oh, he doesn't hit really hard. I don't know. You know, I mean, shit, ask Tony Bellew. Mario Salazar, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. His body, maybe. Maybe he doesn't like body shots, but hell, who really does? Who does like body shots? Everybody hates body shots. That he's really still a big cruiserweight. Well, Jimmy, at this point, what does him being a cruiserweight be a disadvantage? And he's really a cruiserweight. Like, okay. I mean, does cruiserweights do something that heavyweights can't do, fighting other heavyweights? What's the problem? Well, Chisora was actually hitting behind in the back and all types of other places. Chisora was trying to hit this motherfucker whenever he can, wherever he could. I don't think it's height either because obviously he's better at fighting bigger guys. He's comfortable fighting a bigger guy than somebody like Witherspoon is his height. Chisora had him wobble. I don't know about that. I didn't see him wobble. I know he had Chisora wobble. I seen that shit. AJ doesn't really feel the body shots because of abs. I doubt that. Andy Ruiz hit him with some good body shots. Just because you have abs don't mean that you can't feel body punches. Especially you don't know they're coming. Would Jonathan Banks be a better fit for AJ as a trainer? I'm not sure. 6'3", 220 pounds is still big. Dragon leg, counterpunch to you. Solid. AJ fights bigger guys better than smaller guys. That's true. That's why I don't believe in all the bullshit about two other fighters being able to beat up Joshua because they're two other fighters because he fought a smaller fighter that nobody else has fought except Tony Bellew, Witherspoon, and Chisora. And see, this is round 5, and he's really opening up on Witherspoon. And Witherspoon is a very experienced veteran. Okay, he's just he's at this point he's a journeyman, but he's still a veteran. He knows what to do, when to do, and they knew when to pull him out. And I'm proud of him. Well, I mean, shit, he got hurt too, though. You say more tired than hurt, but Profic or Profic, he was still hurt though. Remember Malik Scott said he didn't teach him nothing? He wasn't lying. Darren, counterpunch to you. Hey, that's a good video title. Good video title, bro. AJ's amateur fight showed how he doesn't know how to deal with smaller guys. Well, what Eddie Hearn should do, don't put him in there with smaller fucking guys from now on. That's easy. Get him in there with Furies and Wilders and Joyces and guys like that, because if he gets in there with a shorter guy like Chisora, he's going to always give him problems because he has to punch down, or he has to squat down, which is giving up his height. The LDBC beefing with Floyd. Yeah, I heard about that. I've actually got to do a video. Excuse me, before I go in. But no, new beginnings for Anthony Joshua, though, guys. I think Anthony Joshua should just, focus on who he vibes with the most. You know what I mean? And the only way he's going to know that is what he, has some sessions and take some sessions with him. Yeah, I do, man. I'm about to take my ass to sleep here in a minute. But I had a nap earlier though, something like that, and it was like deep sleep. Well, Eddie Hearn can't really do much because people don't give AJ a pass as they give Fury regarding skipping opponents. I am _ Dave. That's true. Fury can do whatever the fuck Fury wants to do. Interesting. Does this guy have good credentials, Kurt? Yeah, he does. He's man. Jamal Charlo, Edison Lara, David Tua. It's many more. That's just the ones off the top of my head. And he has experience with heavyweights. Kurt, it doesn't matter if AJ reverts to being a powerhouse. When he gets tagged, he gets lost. Usyk will tag him no matter what style. That may be like an unfiltered, pragmatic answer. Evander Tyson. Yeah. I mean, that's tight. Man, look, Ronnie Shields is the man. You know, the funniest shit, man, Ronnie Shields was cussing out David too. That shit was funny. You know. But guys, I think Anthony Joshua, needs a new beginning. I thank everybody for coming on. All 200 some odd of you guys. But stay tuned for more content. I might do a morning stream tomorrow. And I got a lot of videos for you guys that I've already done. Will Stokes, Zorb, Dragon Leg, Cost Production. All you guys have been Counterpunch. Have a good night and morning. And be safe. Peace.